Morning, everybody, and welcome to Home Staging Talk Show Live. Welcome, welcome. I am Jenny Norris, your host, and it's been a minute since we've done a show because it's been quite a hectic last few weeks. It's probably been about a month since we've done a live one, but anyhow, I'm happy to be here with you. Lots has happened in the last month or so since I did my last show, and this is Friday, not Wednesday, so shifted the day around because I didn't want to go another week without being able to go live and share some really great, exciting things with you. So if you are watching me, go ahead and write comments. Let me know you can hear me. And again, thank you for tuning in. Home Staging Talk Show Live is brought to you by the International Association of Home Staging Professionals, of which I am the chairwoman. And it's my privilege to be able to share things with our industry, updates and so forth, and also do some education. So I'm going to talk today about marketing, which is near and dear to my heart. And before we get into that, I did want to make some announcements or just update you on some things. So, of course, our conference is coming up in February 2023 in New Orleans. So tickets are on sale. You can go to IHOSP. Hey, Orlando. Hey, Sharon. You can go to IHOSPconexpo.com, and I will see if I can type this in here. Type something. Okay, here we go. IHOSPconexpo.com. And you can register now. We're going to be putting out a call for speakers probably within the next month. And I already have some that I have already invited to speak that I just know will do an amazing, amazing job. So get excited. New Orleans, we went there in April to do the site preview. I believe I shared that on one of the talk shows and had a great time. That time of year that we'll be there, it won't be hot and humid. The weather should be really great. And of course, New Orleans is just a really high energy town where we are hosting the event. Hey, Kit. Hey, Rhonda. Where we are hosting the event is right in the French Quarter. Hey, Jody. And so it's a great location. So it's, easy to walk around. You can get to Bourbon Street if you want to go down there because we did go explore. But anyhow, February 24th, 25th, and 26th in New Orleans. And then directly following that, there'll be a 2-day advanced stager training. And that will be the 27th and 28th of February. So it's 2 days. And whereas the conference is general education, we will have things specifically for beginner, intermediate, advanced. The goal of a conference is to learn, of course, but it's also to network and meet other people and, have fun. And we recognize people with awards. Our gala dinner, if you saw, that is going to be the Mardi Gras Masquerade Ball. And so we always do a theme. And we like giving awards. And then 2 days following, the advanced stager training will be for people who are at 6 figures or above in their business. Some of the issues that are encountered as you grow, the logistics and the growing pains, we can really kind of delve into in more of a workshop format versus sitting in an audience and listening. You're actually going to be able to interact, and it's confidential. What happens in the advanced stager training stays in the advanced stager training. So you don't have to feel like embarrassed about sharing challenges that you're having, because trust me, everybody's probably had the same challenge. So you're not alone. And then being able to talk about things with colleagues who are further along in their journey and can help you understand how to get there is super valuable. So that'll be the 2 days following. When you sign up for the advanced stager training and the conference together, you do save money off the AST. So definitely plan to stay. And this is our Mardi Gras Masquerade Gala. So that'll be Sunday night. So when you come to the conference, don't plan on leaving on Sunday. You'll miss the big closing event, the awards, the party. So it'll be really fun. It will go late. And so those of you that want to take a really late flight, you could, but otherwise plan to spend the night and then leave the next day, or build your business and come to the AST for 2 days. That'll be really fun. So really excited to host that. And speaking of conferences, so of course, we recently went to Portugal. Hey, Rhonda, and had a great time. So this is, of course, if you don't know, pictured on my left is Verena Mumford, and then Sonia Radovinovich, who's the president of IHOSP Europe, and then Paloma Harrington. And the three of those ladies are a dynamic trio. They hosted this event in Portugal on behalf of IHOSP Europe, did a great job. We had a great time. And I just want to encourage people to take the opportunity to travel and not keep putting life on hold, because you don't want to have regrets like I should have done that, because you don't know what the future holds. Like right now, if you're physically able to travel and do things, go and enjoy and do things because you don't know what the future holds. And so they did an amazing job hosting in Portugal. This was one of the events at night where they had the kickoff no host gathering at this beautiful place right on the water in Portugal. And it was so great to see everybody. It was nice to kick it off that way. The education, of course, was fabulous. They had a lot of really wonderful topics, and I'm going to show here this was the classroom for the sessions, and wonderful speakers. And as long as I've been doing this in the 20 years, there's always something new to learn, or it validates what you're already doing. If you are listening to somebody, you're like, okay, that I'm on the right track, but there's always something new to learn, just a slight adjustment or a new way of thinking about something that can make your business run more smoothly. And this is the senior staging specialist designation that I taught the day after the conference. These are all the wonderful people from Europe who are now SSS certified. And, there are people from all over the world that came to this conference. And so we had the privilege of being able to meet them and get to know them, which was really cool. Here are the couple of people from Poland. So she runs the Poland Association, and just a wonderful young couple. So exciting for me to see young people really attracted to the industry and committed to serving the industry as well. So it was really great to meet this couple. And then, of course, I believe Kit is on here. These ladies are from Canada, so it's Kit and Sissy. So they came from Canada. So it was really nice to meet you both. Of course, I was really happy to see Francesca. So she is from Italy. She runs a school there and is involved in the iHost Europe Association. And so, it's always a pleasure to see her and all the people from her group. And then we show here, the awards dinner was really fun. So we had a black tie event. And so this is us all dressed up. So it was fun. We had my husband and I, hauled that tuxedo and all of our fancy wear to the event, and then had to drag it through Portugal the other days we stayed there, but it was worth it. Everybody looked fabulous. Of course, you probably recognize these ladies. Brigitte and Barb were both speakers at the conference, and so it was really nice to see people from the US that came over, and they did a great job. I know they're very well received. And of course, making new friends is important. So these are people from England that John and I connected with from the UK. And Elaine has a huge business there, Lemon Lime Interiors, and also is an author, and has a really great program that we're going to be talking about. So it was fun to connect because I've seen these people online as far as her company and so forth, but to get to know them in person is so fun. So we tootled around Portugal, had a great time. This is Kirsty, who works with her, and this is Rob, Elaine's husband, and Freddie, who is Kirsty's husband. So really great just being able to get out and explore Portugal and do it with friends. That's, one of the benefits of being able to travel or to get to a conference is to meet new people. Sometimes in our industry, there's people that have their groups, their clan, their tribe, and so forth, and it can be smaller. And then it can be hard if you're an outsider trying to get in to the in crowd, if you will, to meet people. And especially online, it's hard if you're not in the same city and so forth. So a conference is an opportunity to really, find people, hang out with them socially. So it's not just all the business. It's what happens after, oftentimes, the meetings, where you really connect with people and you develop friendships that are going to last a long time. So take the opportunities to do that. Now, the next conference in Europe right now is being planned for Spain, which will be really great. I know Connie in Spain, she was super excited about that. And we will definitely be helping promote that and support that. So start planning. Right now it's scheduled for 2025. And the reason is our conference is 2023. And so they're going to skip 2024. There probably will be some country events or regional events that will happen in Europe that you'll have an opportunity also to participate in if you would like to. So that's the plan. And so start planning now. I mean, you have plenty of time to save up money to go. John and I paid for this trip ourselves. We didn't, the association didn't pay to have me go over there. I made a commitment. I said I was going to go. And I'm so happy that we did go because, being able to see a different part of the world and how people live and just meeting everybody from IHOSP and other areas was so valuable, so valuable. So take the opportunity to make experiences that you'll value for a lifetime. Okay, so our magazine, I wanted to just show our April issue that came out. It was actually came out in May. I worked on it all in April. This was the Stagers of Color issue. If you haven't checked it out, I encourage you to go to our site. This is actually a public issue because I wanted to have it out publicly, not just for our members. And it features Stagers of Color, and it's over 100 pages. And these wonderful, wonderful people that are in there that do represent different ethnic and minority groups and so forth, tell their stories. And I loved putting this together. I got to know so many of the backgrounds of these wonderful people. And it's not to say that people who aren't of color aren't wonderful in the industry as well. However, we want to see, the reason for this publication was to allow people that are in these other, the minority groups, to see themselves reflected in an industry that has been traditionally, mostly Caucasian, I will put it out there, and female, to be honest. And so to see men succeeding, that's really important to show that in our industry, but also people of color, so that other people in those groups can say, well, I can do that. Just look at that person. She looks like me, or he looks like me. I can do that. And so that's why we wanted to put these together and tell their stories, because it's important. And so that's a great issue. Check it out. And we will have hopefully a summer issue, time willing, coming out. I do want to give a plug for Vegas markets coming up. And so we are planning to do a tour for those of you that would like to learn how to shop wholesale market. You need to come to Vegas. It's on you. And then we will take a day, the 25th from 9 to 5. We'll take you through the market to the vendors that we work with. And they host, breakfast and lunches and so forth. But you'll learn a lot, have a lot of education about how to shop, how to read tags and so forth. And so if you're interested in that, go to shopwholesalemarket.com, shopwholesalemarket.com, and register, because we need to get a head count for this event to make it successful. So don't wait till the last second. If you're thinking of going to market, and I know it's super hot in Vegas in July, everything's air conditioned inside, and it's a great experience. I'm planning to be there, and just take the opportunity to learn how to source things for your business that you need, whether now or in the future, so you know how to do it, because there's definitely money savings when you shop wholesale versus running to your retail store and buying something. Plus, when you're buying at the retail store, your stuff looks like everybody else's. And so you want to definitely differentiate yourself. And the way to do that is to source things from places that aren't necessarily supplying home goods and at home and TJ Maxx and so forth. So you get a little bit of a different look. And that's important too, as your business grows. All right. We are teaching the master's course. And it is the master's course along with the scale program for your business. So it's going to be September 20th to the 23rd in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Why Plymouth, Massachusetts? Well, because Blair Hamady has Setting the Space. That's his company. That's where he's located. And he graciously allows us to teach out of his design center located right in the heart of Plymouth. It's a darling town. That time of year, it's going to be fabulous weather. I just love going there. It is about an hour from the airport in Boston, but the goal is to get away and to be in a place where you can focus. Again, the downtown is so charming, and the guest instructors I'll be the lead instructor, and then I'm going to have Sandra Holmes there as well, and also Blair. And so the three of us, by the way, and we're not the only ones that have large businesses, but you're learning from people who are actively in the business right now, not people who were in the business and then are teaching and so forth. We're actively building businesses. We understand the struggles people go through. All of us have large businesses. We focus on different things. And so, you're learning from people who are in the trenches right now, teaching what works and how to advance your business. And so the master's course is a designation. So it is 4 days. We'll have a fabulous graduation dinner, and you'll get a new designation. And then part of the master's course will be learning how to scale your business, because scaling is important as you grow. We start off as solopreneurs, we're by ourselves, most of us. And then as we grow, we're like, I'm maxed out on time. And your choice is either to stay at that level and not continue to grow your business, or you need to add people to your team. You need to grow, put people in place so you can continue to develop the business side of your business and work in your business as you're starting out. But the goal is to work on your business on a daily basis, but you're not the ones necessarily in the field. And so I have done that. I have stagings happening almost every day. I'm not out in the field unless I'm absolutely needed. I was there on Wednesday. We have had a very hectic schedule this spring. And that's one of the things I'm going to talk about with marketing. How do you get those leads? How do you generate that buzz to get that demand? And so there are times when I have to be out in the field. And so, but, having a team in place that you trust is really the key, and being able to scale, which that means putting processes in place right now, standard operating procedures, what's expected, getting all that documented. And what this does is, as you grow your business, then you're positioning yourself for eventually, maybe you decide, and I know I'm not doing this forever. So you want to sell your business. When you have it all packaged nicely from the very beginning, you're in a much better position to understand the value of your business and, offer it to somebody else for them to be able to step in and run it, versus having nothing, no processes documented, no marketing structure, no nothing. That makes it really, really hard. So the scale program goes over everything: how to grow your business, pricing, structure, marketing, logistics, everything. We'll also talk about presentations, how to give presentations. And I was actually at an event last night with Joseph Hecker. So he started these tech alleys, and it's for entrepreneurs in different cities. And so Denver, he hosted one in Denver. And so I spoke as a trade ambassador for this industry and also a speaker. It was interesting because I got up there and most of these people in the room were, they're a lot younger than I am, which was encouraging. And so I started thinking about it, people that enter an industry, when I got started, I was one of the youngest people and I was in my late 30s. Well, now the industry is attracting younger people, which is great, but they need to have stick-to-itiveness and staying power, because as the industry changes and so forth, we want to be able to transition in, leave it in hands of people that are going to continue to grow it and advance it. And not that people have short attention spans, but a lot of these entrepreneurs, they've never worked for somebody else. They've never worked in corporate. And, I did. So did my husband. A lot of you have. So what you were leaving and don't want to have to go back to as an entrepreneur. Somebody that starts out as an entrepreneur from the very beginning, I want to have my own business and so forth. Their motivation is different a little bit. They want to be successful and so forth, but they don't know what they are avoiding, if you will. If I wasn't doing staging, I would have had to continue in the corporate world. And I liked what I did. I was good at it, but I didn't like being told when I had to show up to work and when I could take a vacation and how often I could get sick or whatever, the limitations. And I was told how much I was worth based on my income. And, you're tied to another overall operation that you really have no control over. And so a lot of these young people have not experienced that to know what they want to avoid. I don't want to go back to that. It wasn't that I don't like the industry I was in. I liked the people I worked with, but I don't want to go back to that situation where I'm dictated to by somebody else who tells me all these things about myself when I know what my value is in this industry. And so I'm going to make it work. And I'm like, burn that bridge. Don't have this plan like, well, if this doesn't work out, I'll just go back to what I was doing before. Burn the bridge. That way you are committed to being successful in staging. And that's what the kind of attitude we need people to have. You need to have for your business, because there will be clients that are mean to you or crappy. You're going to have situations where things aren't going as planned. Emotionally, they're exhausting. They could be physically exhausting. You could have a lot of things that happen in any business, not just staging, in any business that's going to happen. When your motivation is stronger than that and your why is stronger than the challenges you're going to face, and you will never have this thought of, well, I'm just going to quit. This isn't for me type of thing. And the other thing I will say is you have to give it time. I've been doing this 20 years. Within the first, I didn't know what I was doing when I got started. Within the first year, I'm like, okay, I had some success. So I stuck to it and the business grew and so forth. A lot of you people that are getting in now, you have people who have paved the way for you. They have very successful businesses. So you can look at them and say, gosh, if they can do it, I can do it. You have examples that a lot of us that got started years ago, we didn't have that. We didn't know if this was going to work or not. We just hoped and said prayers and had faith. But you guys have people who have been successful, but they've been doing this a long time. So the idea that you're going to be at that level within a year or two, that's not realistic unless you buy into a business that's already there. So I just want you guys to manage your expectations when it comes to growing your business. And you need to know that everybody has challenges as they grow. And it's, how to keep your attitude positive. And then I'm going to circle back to the conference and where you meet people, because I'm telling you, the relationships I've made through the years with people I've met at events and conferences and classes and so forth, they have been what has sustained me as I have grown. Because when you have growing pains, being able to contact somebody and just, ask questions and vent, and then to hear them give you sage advice or to just listen and let you know that you're not the only one who has experienced that is really important. And so that all circles back because we're all in this together. We're all working to be successful. All right, those of you that maybe didn't hear, the Best of Home Staging recognition has started on June 1st as far as nominations. It will go till August 30th, and then it'll be stopped. These are not awards where you're going to get a trophy and so forth. They're not ones where you have to do a bunch of qualification and send in a ton of pictures and so forth. These are nominations based on staging excellence, industry leadership, and client care excellence. We want to recognize the best of the best in the industry. This is an open nomination. You don't have to be an IHOS member to be recognized, and anybody who's deserving will be recognized. There are other things, recognition and things that go out there, but it's not industry inclusive. There's people that are missing from lists that certainly should be on them. And so my goal is it's not limited. It's not whether people like you or not within who are in the decision-making process and so forth. It's basically if you are deserving of being recognized because you do excellent staging work, because you have been a leader in the industry. And a leader in the industry is somebody who has served in leadership in the industry and given back to their local level. It could be with an association. You could be a coach or a trainer. It's not somebody who leads a team in a company. That's not what that recognition is for. It's for you actually contributing back to the industry in some manner within the last year that you have served in that role. It could be just a continuous thing that you've been doing, but that's who that recognition is for. And then of course, client care excellence, those of you that serve your clients and really care about them, testimonials and so forth, are what we require to be uploaded for that one. And so you can be recognized for those. So August 30th will be the cutoff. You can go to bestofhomestaging.com, bestofhomestaging.com. You can fill out the form. You can nominate colleagues. Other people can nominate you. You can self-nominate as well. And you do have to upload your headshot or a headshot of who you're nominating. Under the staging excellence, we want to see a couple of examples of the work. Industry leadership, why are they deserving of that? And then client care testimonials. And then it feeds into a spreadsheet that I see. So don't wait until the last second to get this together because it will take you, depending on what you're nominating for or nominating others for, it will take you probably 15 minutes to half an hour, depending on how computer savvy you are to get it filled out. So don't wait. And again, our awards will be the specific awards for like best vacant staging, best small staging, occupied, and so forth. Those are issued in February at our conference. And so those are different than the best of home staging is like best of house, where people, get nominated or they have their, they're recognized by their clients and they get nominated or get featured as the best of that particular application. Ours is the best of the industry, the best of home staging industry. So that is the goal of these, of this recognition. Okay. Marketing Made Simple. So the book is in a third revision, change the cover and so forth. This will be made available on Amazon, and it is over 100 pages. It's basically what I have in here, in there, and not everything I have in here, but as much as I could put down to help people understand how to market. So we're going to kind of shift gears here and get into our topic of the day, marketing. And I love marketing. I always have. My position before getting into staging was marketing, and I did marketing and sales, if you will. So it really wasn't like cold calling sales, but I did have to put together marketing brochures and marketing features and ads and so forth. And so I learned a lot in that field, and being able to translate that into the staging industry was not hard for me because I understood, messaging and how to brand and so forth. But so many stagers struggle with marketing. And so I really want to take the next few weeks to do a series on marketing to help people understand how to get the business, because a lot of stagers, business people in general, they'll name their company, they'll get us a website, print up business cards or have, e-cards. And if you want to do an e-card, joinincrowd.com, which is web-based. You can create free cards on there, as many as you want. And again, it's the brainchild of Joseph Hecker, but it's a great way to do it. So last night I gave out my card a bunch of times. This is let's see if you can see that. Oh, it's kind of bright. My digital card is here. I have a video on mine as well. So for $10 a year, you can upgrade and have video, but then you just tap the code and it creates a QR code that then people can scan, and then you immediately go into their phone. So you don't need to have paper business cards anymore. Plus, if you build these for your team, if you pay the $10 a year, which is nothing, and you create cards for your team, well, you get our analytics on who they've shared their card with. And let's say you share your card with somebody and then they end up giving your contact info to somebody else. It tracks all of that, which is really cool. And so anyhow, you want to have business cards, your branding and so forth. And then the stagers will say, well, why isn't the phone ringing? Why don't I have any business? Or I don't have the volume of business I need right now. Listen, every one of us has experienced that. When I got started, I marketed, and this is a true fact. I marketed for 90 days straight and I had no response outside of that sounds great, but nobody picked up the phone and hired me. I went to events. I spoke at offices, and mind you, I was in a region where staging was not being done. This is in 2002, and it was brand new. So I was really paving the way and educating a lot. And I had a lot of positive feedback, but nobody was picking up the phone. I got really discouraged. Sorry, Orlando, which URL? I didn't see your comment. I apologize. Type it in there and I'll tell you what it is. bestofhomestaging.com. Is that the one for the awards? And so if those of you who didn't get that down, it is actually on the actual graphic itself. At least it should be if I did it right. The digital business card site. Okay. That is, I'll type it in here. Join in crowd. Oops. .com. So joinincrowd.com, and you create your card. So it's not an app on your phone. You actually go to a browser. You can create as many cards as you want to. It's free. Create as many cards as you want to. And you only pay the money if you want to upgrade and have like the video and the analytics and so forth. That's the only, that's what you would pay for. But otherwise, you can create as many cards as you want and have them out there. One of the statistics we found with COVID is a lot of people didn't want your paper business card because they were paranoid about it having contamination or something. And anyway, so this is a great way. Plus, statistically, and Joseph teaches this too, business cards get thrown in the garbage after about 7 days. Most people forget where they got them. Like I collect cards, and if I don't write where I met this person, I'll find them in my wallet or whatever. And then if you can't make the connection, then they might go on a desk for a period of time, and then eventually they go in the garbage. So this actually, you're right into the person's phone immediately. There's no chance of them losing your business card. Your contact information goes right into their phone. And so it's much, much easier to make sure that they save your information. Yes. Thank you, Orlando. So anyhow, so marketing, people need to be intentional with marketing. And so again, so many stagers struggle with this. So in the beginning, I marketed for 90 days straight. I didn't get a response. Now I actually said to my husband, I guess it's not going to take off here. And I was like, I guess I got to find something else to do. That was really, I literally said that. And the next day the phone rang. So I'm so glad I didn't give up. But it was frustrating and it was confusing because I'm like, I know that what I'm talking about is beneficial to these people. Why aren't they getting it? And so those people that are getting in now in the last, 5 years or 10 years, the industry has been established in most major markets. So you're not dealing with really an uneducated target audience per se, although there's still a lot of people who don't know what home staging is. You have examples of people who've been successful. So you have an added element of competition that I did not have in the beginning, but certainly when I moved to Denver, the market was well established here. So I had to start out from scratch. I didn't know one person here, had to build the business cold, which is the hardest way to build a staging company or any business, which means you don't have any kind of warm introductions from people. And so, working away, and there's been ups and downs, and we've weathered, different types of markets and so forth. And so I have been definitely working on different strategies for marketing in order to generate leads. And so my motto is those who market, make it. Those who market, make it. And you can never stop marketing. Mm-hmm. So the goal of marketing always precedes sales. You will never have any revenue. You will never have sales if you don't market yourself. Mm-hmm. So marketing creates the brand awareness. It creates the need, if you will. So you're targeting your core clients. And in our industry, you're going to be targeting real estate agents, realtors, and you know the difference between the two, hopefully. A real estate agent has passed a test to sell real estate in their state. A realtor has joined National Association of Realtors at the national, state, and local level. So it's actually a designation owned by the National Association of Realtors. And so those people have a higher level of education required. They have code of ethics and so forth that the real estate agents don't have. And so there is a difference, but that's one of our key audiences. Of course, investors have really become a staple for a lot of staging industry professionals who want to do that type of staging. Investors and then builders are very important. Under the investor category, you can parcel it out, and for like short-term rental, those are all investor people who are using their property to generate income and so forth. And so there's a lot of different target audiences you can go after, but you have to message properly. You need to get your message. Hi, Yolanda. Hi, Jennifer. You need to get your messaging into their eyeballs. And so you have to think about, where are they looking for me? When people, what do you do? Go and type some comments here. When you're looking for something, you're like, I need to, okay, I'll just use myself as an example. For the Amazon book site, I'm like, how do you do that? How do I, what am I supposed to do to put my book up on Amazon and so forth? So what did I do? I didn't call Amazon. I Googled. Right. And Google came around, like it was like the early 2000s. I had written this down. They actually were called something else beforehand, like some weird name. I can't think of it. It'll probably in my recesses, my brain is rifling through right now, but it wasn't a known term. But now the term Google it, just Google it. It's like a colloquialism that we all utilize. And so that's where people are going to start if they don't already have a connection. Okay. Most people are not searching on Facebook for you. Most people are not searching on TikTok or these other places now. So you have different reasons for being on these platforms for awareness and engagement. There's people that take a lot of time in the groups that we have, like private groups, like the Home Staging Professionals group. Great group. We have almost 5,000 people in it and a lot of really great engagement. That group is for business owners in our industry to be able to ask questions and so forth. But, let's say you take a lot of time, you're posting all your properties in there. Well, it's a private group. Nobody's ever going to find it by searching either Facebook or even Google. It's never going to show up. So you have to make sure that you're posting where people can find you publicly. Our educators at our conferences, Johnny Fowler's amazing. We're definitely going to have him back because the algorithms keep shifting for Facebook and Instagram. One of the things that happened a couple months ago, and the guru is going to be teaching us on this, and it continues to evolve. But what happened is, maybe in the last 6 months, you were able to opt in or out of being followed around. This is my understanding. So you were able to tell Facebook that, no, I don't want you following me around. And what that does then is the advertisers, because we paid to put ads on Facebook for iHosp and staged homes and so forth, they then don't have that opportunity to, like, if you click on something, you're like, oh, okay, I'm interested, and you go out of it. The old way was they could kind of follow you around. That you all of a sudden start seeing advertisements or that same thing pop up in other areas. Now that's not allowed anymore. What it did is it cut out 75% of the target audience, which is huge. And that's why you might have been seeing in the news that Meta, which kind of is, I don't know, I don't really care for that name, but Meta has had some challenges because that happened. And then of course they did the name change. So they were dominating a lot of the engagement for a particular demographic. You also need to understand from a marketing standpoint, who is your target audience? If you're a younger person, you might be really engaged on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and so forth, those applications. The Gen Xers prefer Facebook. Twitter is largely used by men, but it's becoming more popular. But you got to think, like, how are people finding me for business? So if your goal is to educate audiences and so forth with your messaging about why they need to work with you and so forth, you can use the social media platforms, but you also need to be found organically. You need to show up when somebody searches on Google. And I'm not suggesting you pay for advertising. People that pay for ads, it is a way to be seen. However, it's not organic. And organic reach are the ones when you type something in, they show up because they have had a lot of reviews or they have a lot of content they've put out there, and they're showing up organically in the search ranking, which looks more legitimate in the eyes of the public than somebody who pays to be placed on top. I don't know if you think that when you're looking for something. I certainly do. I look at the ads and I'm thinking, like, well, they paid to be up here. Who shows up first organically? And so there's a whole strategy behind how to be found. And so I want to be sharing this in the coming weeks. I'll be teaching you how to be found organically online, what you need to be doing. I have a couple people being my guinea pigs right now. Kevin Tain, he and I talked about this, it was about a year ago or so, maybe towards a little bit later in the summer. Anyhow, he was having challenges with lead gen and his company structure had shifted. And so I told him, do these two things consistently, and you're going to see a difference in your business. And I would like to have him on as a guest to kind of share how what I shared made a difference in his business as well. Because now if you look at his posts from a year ago to where he is now, you'll see it's a completely different. He's done an amazing job with putting himself out there and, doing what he needed to do to keep his business growing and to advance it. And he's at the point now where he's maxed out of space. He needs to acquire more things. The demand is there. So it doesn't happen instantaneously. It grows over time. But what I'm sharing with you works. 2 weeks ago, we had 21 requests for vacant properties, 21. Some of those were from referrals. A lot of those came from people finding us, searching, and so forth. And what I had done prior were the two things that I'm going to teach you about, what I had done prior to getting all that activity. So the main thing with marketing is it has to be consistent. You can't throw a bunch of marketing out there, then you start getting results. You can't stop marketing. You constantly have to have a balance of giving yourself exposure and being consistent with that, and then also obviously staging and earning money. So they go hand in hand. If you stop marketing, you'll have a spike of activity because you marketed, and then it's going to drop off because you stopped. So you're going to be like, oh my gosh, my marketing worked. Yay. Uh-oh, the phone's not ringing. I'm not getting any emails. Market. Oh, yay. Oops. So you can't be like that because then you're like on a roller coaster. And when you get that, when it dips off, you're like, uh-oh, wow, did the industry just completely shift in my market? Or did everybody, decide they don't want to work with me, or what's going on? You kind of panic. Now, how do I know that? Because I've been there. So now I know because of the industry timing and so forth. All of you need to study your industry, by the way, where you live. There's going to be highs and lows of activity. You can expect the spring market to be pretty strong, but every market has times when it does taper off. So like in the, here it's right around Labor Day. There's usually a lull. There's usually like a week where I'm going to expect it to be kind of dead. And when it first happened to me, I was like, what's going on? Because it wasn't dead. When I moved from California, my dead time was July. So to come here and be like, what's going on? Why is nobody, why is nothing booked? It's because it was, people were back to school. It was the last hurrah, the last getaway before fall kicks in and snow arrives and so forth. So now I know that. And, if it's going to be slower, that's when I plan to do. Either I go away and get a good away, or I use that to, work on the warehouse or, relax or whatever. I don't panic. So all of you need to know your trends in your industry so you don't go into panic mode when you don't have the business that you need. And yes, you'll want to market more, get paid more. Absolutely. So as demand increases, excellent point, Duchess. I love it. As demand increases, then you will be able to be more selective with the stagings that you're going to do, and you can raise your prices a bit. Now, I also want to encourage all of you. Gas prices, as we all know, have skyrocketed. It's ridiculous. And yet, we really have no control over it because it's controlled by other people. That impacts directly our business. And so I want to make sure that you are all accounting for that in your proposals, that if you have a truck that you have driving, ours is a diesel. Diesel right now is at, over $5, almost $6 a gallon. Gas, depending on where you live, it's all gone up. So you need to factor that into your proposals. And if your clients ask you, oh, your prices have gone up. So yeah, inflation and gas prices have directly impacted our ability to deliver our staging work. And so we have to pass that on to the consumer. I've gotten emails from every wholesaler that I work with. They're telling me the same thing. We're going to be raising our delivery fees. We're raising our fees on the items because container ships are still exorbitantly high. I feel like they are deliberately being gouged by the manufacturers. And this is why manufacturing on your own soil is so important. You're not dependent on foreign imports. And I know the whole labor cheapness and so forth, but really is it now? I haven't studied this, but I would question now because they've almost tripled the cost of getting a container over. Is it really more cost effective to be, working there? And unfortunately, they're blaming COVID and the whole backlog and so forth. I think now, because that's in the past, it's profit. It's a way for them to make more money. So then they're passing that along to the consumer. So we need to be doing the same thing. You need to be raising your prices to offset your overhead, your fuel costs, your transportation, what it takes you to maintain your, wherever you have your things, your warehouse, your storage units, even your own home, whatever you're doing, that's all overhead. You need to be passing that through. Now, I didn't send out an email to all my clients telling them I was raising prices, but our base price has gone up about $200 in the last year to account for increased cost of doing business. So the good news is there isn't really one market that I know of in the country where the real estate is going like this. It's not declining to the point where people are losing money on their houses. It's still this, really great equity gains for most properties. And so we all know this. If you study the statistics and you're watching the market and seeing the appreciation of properties that are out there, somebody that owned a house, the last 10 years, they've made a huge gains. Even somebody who bought it 2 years ago or a year ago has made gains. And the sellers then are making a ton more money selling their property due to the supply and demand. There's not enough supply. There's a huge demand. Housing starts and so forth there's just not enough properties for the buying public, which increases demand. And then that allows the people who are selling, that's why the prices have skyrocketed, right? So they're making a lot more money, and real estate agents are tied to the sale. They're making more commission. So everybody's income went up during this last year. Everybody's income tied to the real estate industry. It all went up because houses are worth more. Do you know that title reps, title companies or lenders and so forth, if you ask how they're paid, they're tied to the price of the property, the sale price of the property, right? Everybody's getting paid. Everybody gets a little piece of the action. And so stagers, typically, there are some markets where they'll take a piece, they'll charge a percent of the property for their staging fee. But in general, we're looking at how we price ourselves. And the idea that we should be lowering our prices, is ridiculous because everybody else has increased their final gain. So don't feel guilty about raising your prices, and you're not gouging your clients, and you deserve to make a profit. I'm going to say this until the day I die. There's no value in free. Don't give anything away for free, and don't devalue yourself in order to accommodate a client who's being cheap. And rather than do that, it's about educating them about the value you're bringing. That what we do with staging is going to help them net way more than the investment of the staging. And that's why it's worthwhile. I have had a lot of clients this last year. I've never had to stage a house before. I've never had to use a stager. So, I'm not in a market where it's gangbusters and every property is being staged. Far from it. I am still curious about what really is going on because we're setting records this year that I could not have really anticipated. I mean, our April was a month that broke all records for all time. Going back 20 years, I've been tracking. And those of you that don't do this, it's very easy. I have a spreadsheet. I actually share this in the master's class, but we have a spreadsheet. I track every opportunity. How much is the opportunity? What was the bid proposal? Did I win it? And then what is the ongoing, amount for any kind of ongoing rental or supply or use of your things and so forth. But I have that in a spreadsheet. So every month I know what opportunities I had come in. And at the end of the month, I add it all up. So I know, like right now I have this much in the pipeline. I've closed this much in sales. So I have, 40% more to go to close all of the rest of these, and things keep coming in. So I keep that in a spreadsheet. And then what Excel spreadsheet does, niftily, you don't have to do this. They'll create a bar graph for you. You can create a bar graph by plugging in numbers and create like this. Well, mine have the spike graph. So I can see over time how things have grown. And so anyway, April was a big spike. It broke all records. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Well, then May rolls around. May broke April by 53% more. And I like numbers. I'm not naturally like an analytical person, but I like business. I like winning. I am competitive. And so I do like to see, hey, how are we doing? What's our close rate? How much revenue did we bring in? And so to see that huge spike, 53% more than the one that had broken the record the month before, was like, what is going on? So I don't really have an answer yet for you guys. I'm still, trying to figure that out. I don't know if all of a sudden this epiphany happened here in Colorado and a bunch of these realtors are, going, we got a stage, or if I haven't, I don't really monitor my competitors. I don't know if somebody went out of business and now those clients are looking for somebody else. And by the way, that happens very frequently. People will choose to go different directions with their life and business. And so there's always transition, not only with staging, but also with real estate. So that's the other reason why you have to continue to market, because clients that you might have had for, I have one client, we've been working together for 13 years here, but she's transitioning out of her business. So I expect the next few years that she's going to retire. You have clients that are looking for their next, what am I going to do next? Right. And so if you continue to market yourself and make yourself relevant for the ones that are coming in now, you're not going to have any business. And so, I am a certain age, and I don't know what these younger people think when they see me. Oh my God, she's old, because they're in their 20s. And I remember when I was in college, when I was, 22, graduate, I thought, I was a pre-med student at UCLA, and that's where John and I met. I thought, God, if I go through medical school, I'll be 32 by the time I finish. 32, because I wanted to be a psychiatrist. I was sort of like follow my father's footsteps. And I remember saying to myself, oh my God, that's so old. 32, oh my God. Well, that's not old. It's all relative. I look at myself and I still feel young, and I can look at people who are older than I am. Like when we traveled, this is what I was kind of saying, get out there and travel now, because we saw a lot of really older people in Portugal, and they're on the bus tours and so forth. And they got walkers and canes, and God bless them that they're traveling and seeing the world. But I don't want to be my first experience going to some of these places where I'm not mobile enough to really get out and explore. So do it while you can. That's my little pitch for traveling and just experiencing life. I'm not saying you have to go to Europe, just go travel, go do stuff. Don't put off your life. The great thing about our business is that you don't have to put your life on hold. You do want to focus, and you have to have your head to the grindstone in the beginning. I'm going to make this work, and then reward yourself. Plan to come to New Orleans, plan to come to conferences, plan to come to Boston. It's 1 week out of your life. I was able to run our company here because the team was here. They had access to everything they needed. I was still texting and so forth. I was 7 hours ahead. So sometimes I'd be, early in the morning there answering questions here, but you can make it work when you have people in place. Or if you plan your schedule and you just don't have things that week, what are you going to miss out on? Well, you're going to miss out on potential stages for last minute people who go, oh my God, the stager I was going to work with fell through. Can you stage tomorrow? And, I don't like saying no. So I usually figure out a way to make it work for some of these people, but it's not like, and to me, those are what you call bluebirds in the sales world. You weren't expecting to get that business. And so don't punish yourself by not giving yourself time to get away and do things with your family, with friends, and have a life. Because as you look back on your life, I've said this many times, I don't want my epitaph or memorial or whatever happens when I die. I don't want to be like, wow, she was a really good stager and she staged a lot of houses. And I want it to be about how I impacted people's lives and the memories I made and the relationships that I built. And that's what you need to focus on. So why are you building a business? What is your whole goal? It's to bring income in and to make a difference in the lives of people, and then to be able to enjoy your life. So don't put all of that on hold for too long. So, I know I'm a certain age, and I know there's people that are older than I am. And so if I'm appealing to the younger demographic, maybe you bring someone on your team who is younger than you are, right? My daughter, who's 27, my niece is 24. They both stage with me. Then I have other stagers that are one's older than I am. I think the other one might be 2. I'm not sure. But there's 5 of us that go out regularly. And then my son's girlfriend, who's 20, she's 26. So she's also staging. So I've got 3 in the 20s and 3 in the 50 plus category. Okay. So if we get an opportunity to do an event or something and it's catered toward a younger crowd, it's not that I won't show up, but I got these younger people, and the way that they engage with each other and how they find out what to do and so forth is very different than what I learned and what I grew up with. And so we can never stop learning how to reach the people we need to reach. A lot of the sellers we're dealing with, you're going to have the 50 plus, you have the, the silent generation of the boomers and so forth that are selling and so forth. What's coming in is the buyer market. You have the millennials, of course, but that Gen Z that's come in, those are the kids that are in their 20s and they're buying properties. And about, within 5 years, if statistics are true, they'll be selling. Okay. If they didn't use a stager before, if they bought a new build or didn't have, they were a buyer, they didn't never stage, they'll be like, well, what's that? So we have this whole new generation of sellers that are going to be coming in that don't really know what staging is, whether they watch TV or not, HGTV or the shows. So it's constantly an education process, and the relatability is why you're going to get hired. And so I just want to encourage all of you to focus your efforts on marketing. Be very, very strategic. So starting next week, I will have more of a firm plan. There'll be things that I'll be able to send to people. If those people who are watching this in the future and want information, all you have to do is just send me an email. I'll put my email here for you. And so you can let me know that, yes, whatever you are going to be posting, I'll probably do a G drive with stuff in it for people. Just send me your info, email me, and I'll make sure that you get added to it. This is being recorded. It goes up on our homestagingtalk.com website. Also, our YouTube channel on iHosp. YouTube, go find us. Please follow. What is it called? Somebody help me here. I was up all night, not last night, the night before, because our cat got out. And I posted this online. Little. I'm going to call him a rascal. I want to call him a different word. I love him, but he snuck out at midnight and would not come, and he partied all night and came in at 6 a.m. And so I didn't sleep because we have wild animals. And I heard him get into a fight at 3 and still wouldn't come in. So I heard him like cat meow and screaming. And so anyhow, my brain's not firing. So what is it called when you're on YouTube and you it's not following? Subscribe. Thank you, Yolanda. That would a long time for me to figure out that word. Subscribe to our channel. And so when you subscribe to our YouTube channel, by the way, you don't get notified and annoyed by a bunch of things. It's basically when you go into YouTube, then that's when they'll say, hey, so-and-so has a new video or something. A channel that you subscribe to has new content. So go subscribe to our channel. There are 2 iHosp channels on YouTube. I don't know why this first one exists, but the one you want to go to has the most subscribers. It has all of our videos on there. And so you can watch the content. And then again, homestagingtalk.com also has the videos uploaded. So I hope this was beneficial. I am going to be having some guests on. If you have a really cool marketing strategy that you've been employing, or would like to share anything, just message me. I'll have you on the show as a guest. I know a lot of you are doing really fabulous things for your branding. Orlando, I know you're on here. Go check out Orlando's site too, because the content on what he does for marketing is really, really great. And I would like to showcase what some of these stagers are doing in their business that really help bring in the business. If you're struggling with getting leads, I want you to write to me privately. Struggling, if you're not getting the volume of business that you want, and you're out there and you feel like you're hitting your head up against a wall and you're really not getting the traction, I'm always testing different things. And then when I find something that works, I'm going to refine it. And this process, by the way, that I have been using, I've been working on this for different iterations of it for 10 years, because the platforms I use keep changing. And so, but the combination of the activity works. So it's a combination of posting strategically and also sending things out to a database that for email and so forth, that gets to every single real estate agent in your market. And you're not the one that has to control that. It's an easy strategy, but the key is it has to be consistent so that you're constantly visible. So I'm going to end today's session with that. I love you all. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm sorry I was absent for so long. I don't know if we'll be doing Wednesday of next week. What happens is the week kind of starts to get loaded up, and I may switch to Friday. I'm going to make sure that I'm not bumping up against Kat Trullinos' show, because she's got a show she does on Fridays. If you have not tuned in on hers, I love it. So I'll make sure that I'm not conflicting with her time. So, but if you ever can't catch the whole show, you know that we do record. And my goal is to do half an hour segments, and here we are at 53 minutes. So I'm going to try to keep them shorter. But you know me, so there's always a lot to share. But anyway, thanks you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Happy Father's Day, whether you're a dad to a child or a fur baby or just a stepdad or like a dad to anybody. You are so valuable, and we love all of the dads in our lives. And so happy Father's Day this weekend. Enjoy, and I'll be back next week. Bye, everybody.